we'll just get you started. Welcome to J1Con, by the way.
Yeah.
You guys having fun?
Whose first J1Con is it?
Okay.
Very cool.
It was fun last time, so we're happy to be back.
And who amongst you are filmmakers? Okay.
Rock on. Okay.
Who amongst you are like talent, like actors, maybe singers?
Okay.
Okay. Right. This is why everyone's attractive. I'm seeing it now. Okay. How about like any writers? Okay. Great.
And out of curiosity, how many people have actually heard of us? Okay.
Cool. Well, thanks.
Does seeing you on the schedule mean heard of you?
Yes.
You're here right now. It counts.
So we're a local co-op of filmmakers, and we basically make nerdy, geeky genre content. A lot of living in 8 bits, obviously. That is Mike's baby, and that is about living. Will you pitch it?
It is essentially if you were to take video game tropes and logic and you were to apply it to real life in a sketch comedy form. So we make sketch comedy, basically with video game humor. We've had 5 seasons, 50 episodes. Anybody know of Retroware TV? We are a featured show on Retroware TV. Other people that have been involved with our series, James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd, the Game Chasers, Square Painter, who's actually at this convention, which, by the way, go to his booth and say hi. Awesome dude.
Yeah.
Tell him that we sent you, and then come back to us and tell us what the reaction is.
Oh, I thought you were gonna spread like a nice rumor, like tell him we sent you, and he'll show you his nipple. You know, like something.
Let's do that. All right.
Give you
Tell him.
Which one?
Tell left.
has to be
So,
left.
tell
you don't
him-
get righty for
Tell
free.
him that he will sign your left one.
Well, no, is it their nipple or his nipple?
Both.
So nipple to nipple combat will happen.
I didn't realize it was that kind of a con.
It is now.
So,
We bring the nipple party.
So-
Hashtag nipple party. We're gonna make that trend on Twitter tonight.
So on top of that as well, we also produce this variety of other kinds of series. So we have, actually with Matt and Steph and their company Cinevore, we have a show with WHYY PBS Philadelphia.
The show's called Moot. It's basically nerdy people arguing about topics that don't really matter. So your basic Friday night for everybody that likes to debate. Yes.
Could you give us an example of a topic on Root?
How much ketchup can you take from a restaurant before it's considered stealing? What do you think? Do y'all have a number? I know you do.
Like,
Are we talking about packets or
Pack the packets.
Yeah, 8 small things.
for lunch today.
Yeah.
And Abner's.
Is it,
Yeah, I did.
isn't it complimentary
Forgot
though?
about it.
42.
Like, isn't it all free?
Well,
Like,
that's why it's like how many until it's not.
This is
Right.
what makes the show so fun.
how much
buying
ketchup you
anything.
use on everything.
Depends what you're using ketchup for.
Is it McDonald's?
Say if you like 8 packs of ketchup on a burger, then
Wow, this
you
is
got
a
6
very
packs.
interesting debate going on.
That's what I'm
right
saying.
here.
You know,
Look where you started.
This is the point of Moot. To make a friend, discuss your ketchup number, right? Because everyone has a different. This can divide families. The ketchup number, right? And then where does it stop? What if you went in and just got an iced coffee, but you took 8 ketchup packets? Is that acceptable?
It'll arise questions.
Right? And then,
people will wonder why you want coffee and ketchup together. I don't.
but it's complimentary,
It is
right?
complimentary.
What if your partner threw out
still
all
going.
of the ketchup packets? I'm stalling. What if your partner throws out all the free ketchup packets that they came with your fries? You got delivery. They gave you ketchup. He threw them out, hypothetically, and bought ketchup himself. Is this a problem?
This is a problem that happened in my house.
What did you do? How did you stop it?
I had to leave a note on the container that says, "Do not throw out the ketchup packets."
It's true, because what if you run out of ketchup, like in the bottle?
It's
you have
happened.
no ketchup left in the house. You have these little ketchup packets lying around. Those are the godsend. Those will save
Have a Ziploc
your
bag.
dry burger.
I think we have to unionize against this ketchup situation,
I agree.
right?
I agree completely.
And then do you have like an like a date in your head of like, listen, this ketchup is from a Roy Rogers. I don't know if that restaurant chain still exists. Is this sketchy packet complimentary ketchup?
We have picture.
Okay.
So what?
We're finished this discussion
We're not
later.
done here though. I don't care about your little movies.
So
We gotta have ketchup conversations.
so because of the nature of our setup, this is Matt, by the way. By the way, Matt,
Hello.
introduce your. Yeah, we didn't even introduce.
Oh, you didn't
ourselves.
introduce any of yourselves?
No,
Terrible.
we were talking about food.
I had other things I was working on. Anyway, I'm Matt. I'm one of the people that run Cinevore. We work on Living in 8 Bits with the Living in 8 Bits team and Mixed Nuts Productions. This is Stephanie. She runs Cinevore with me.
Hi, Matt. Hi, Steph.
Hello.
Hi.
Mike.
I'm Mike. I am the showrunner of Living in 8 Bits, and I also am a director of photography and editor for Cinevore projects.
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
I'm Carmen. I'm actor with Living in 8 Bits, talent-wise.
I'm
Yeah.
Lori. I'm also an actor with Living in 8 Bits, and I'm also a singer and musician separately. Yes, thank you.
So because of how this is set up, that's how we're going to show you our clips from our show.
It's
So
in
that-
HD. It's better than a
That's right.
flickery
It's-
projector. It's
So-
better.
Yes.
I am Game Boy. I am.
Oh my God, it's Jeff!
Alright, Mom, I'm ready for this pizza bagel box.
You just came out of my TV.
I'm sorry, man.
Who the hell comes out of the TV? We'll go back in.
It's too late to rephrase that.
First, art is not boring. Second, my specific class is not boring. And last, video games are not art. Who says? Roger Ebert.
Well, maybe that's why he's dead. Well, video games are about dragon murder. I was thinking more like Civilization.
I saw you playing Civilization on your tablet. You were in a nuclear war with Mahatma Gandhi.
So that's just two very small examples of a broader group of things that we get to work on. I mean, other things. What other kind of projects are we going to
I
do?
saw a question.
Do you, by any chance, sell Moot specifically at your table?
Not yet, because we're
Yes.
actually not even done season 1 of Moot yet.
Yeah.
So we have produced 8 episodes, only 6 of which have aired thus far, and there are probably 4 more being produced. So it's going to be a 12-episode first season when all is said and done.
You can see them on Cinevore.com. You can see them on WHYY.org. Since PBS owns them, I don't know if we're ever going to be able
allowed to sell them, but
Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. But it's our first opportunity ever getting stuff on TV and commissioned by a company like PBS. We've been making web videos for many years. My background, I went to University of the Arts, so I'd been working behind the scenes with the Angry Video Game Nerd for many years. And then met Matt Conant, who had been working on other video game stuff as well as, I guess, weird and nerdy fiction, would you call it?
yeah, I mean, we all sort of grew up with this sort of as our entertainment, so being able to sort of translate it into a career of sorts, I suppose you could call it, is neat. It's like the thing we all sort of are drawn to when we don't have other, when we get to choose our projects, basically.
And what had actually happened is Matt and I met, introduced him to James, and then we had all, we run a nonprofit called Project 21, which runs a 21-day filmmaking competition, Philadelphia Film and Animation Festival, and programs in general, I talk with my hands, programs in general to help emerging artists, musicians, actors, writers, directors, network together and make original films. So that's actually how we met Mike Lecision and his team, is that he won the feature portion of our competition. It was for a feature film called No Footing, which is about...
Well, it's about, we made that in 2009. I've known Lori since high school. I've known Carmen since college. So like our group, we all knew each other, and we produced this feature film in 2009 for $3,000, which is, I don't know how we did it.
Don't do it.
Don't don't if you want to keep your sanity. And it was cool because we got some people involved with it. Anybody a fan of Salute Your Shorts? Donkey Lips is in our movie. So I'm actually good friends with Michael Ray Bauer, who was Donkey Lips on Salute Your Shorts. And if anybody remembers LFO, the boy band from the late 90s, I was friends with Rich Cronin, and I've done a few music videos for him, and he gave us some of his music for the movie. So we produced this movie on this very, very small budget, and we entered it into Matt and Steph's festival, and that's how we met. And then through that, and through my work on that, they asked me to work on Overanalyzers. So if anybody saw Overanalyzers on Cinemassacre, and then in turn, James asked us to work on the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. So I was the editor on that. If anybody's seen the Angry Video Game Nerd movie, the giant monster, Death Moises, that's Matt.
That was fun. We got to punch through a bunch of model buildings that represent Las Vegas. So
Yeah.
Awesome. I couldn't see anything.
So we've gotten to do a lot of really cool things by our companies merging together. My company's Mix and Us Productions, their company is Cinevore Studios. And by merging them together, we've been able to create all this cool stuff, like Living in 8 Bits. Like another project that we have DVDs of, Nerd vs. Geek, which Moot is really the spiritual sequel, I would say, to Nerd vs. Geek, which we have DVDs available at our booth, as long with Living in 8 Bits DVDs.
If you guys do like Moot, indeed, it is a really interesting thing that happened. We kickstarted Nerd vs. Geek initially, and we failed our Kickstarter campaign. We weren't able to raise the money because everybody we knew were other artists, and we've all been passing around the same $20 to each other. So we said, you know what, we're going to do it anyway. And as a result of making Nerd vs. Geek Season 1, not only did we get our first sponsored contract for fiction, which was promoting Firefall, which is a massive multiplayer online game. We had 4 shorts that they sponsored that are extra scenes on the Nerd vs. Geek feature DVD. They're just gamer trope
it's
stuff.
like a Final Fantasy parody. There's a Super Mario Brothers parody and things to draw traffic.
A job interview for
Umbrella Corporation.
Umbrella Corporation
yeah.
for Resident Evil.
I think you guys would all appreciate it, and because of that, we got featured on a couple websites. We got featured on like Kotaku, one of the spin-off series. We got featured on Upworthy, and we started to get on everybody's radar. In the meantime as well, while we continue to run our nonprofit film and animation festival, we got hooked up with Joel Hodgson, the creator of Mystery Science Theater 3000, and he started to see what we were kind of up to, had a lot of questions, so we actually got the great opportunity to produce some of the first Mystery Science Theater footage in, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, they brought back the Turkey Day Marathon last year. I don't know if you saw it or not, but we were involved. We basically produced all these new segments with Joel and the 2 robots that he still owns.
We worked with Crow and Servo.
Yes.
So writing and producing content with that was really cool.
And so that stuff's online too. Shout Factory, the distributor for all Mystery Science Theater content, sells those cool Turkey Day specials, so you can check that out. But it's just been a really eclectic kind of thing. And the big lesson here for the artists in the room, for the actors, the writers, the directors, is you're not in competition with each other. So many times you end up getting into this artistic mentality, and you go through school or you look at stuff online and you're like, how come they made it? And how come this guy's more popular? How come this? Don't ever do that. There's no such thing as competition. If you like somebody's work, the best thing to do is to find them, write them a nice letter, go up to at a convention and talk to them. Everybody's a human being. There's no such thing as celebrities. Okay, everybody poops, don't tell, right? And you would be surprised if you do good work and you're passionate about your project and you're a really nice person, then you can make beautiful music together or film or performances. And I don't think anybody really tells you that. There's something, like in addition to one-upmanship in the arts field of, you know, getting mad and competing with each other. There's also one-downmanship, which we all need to avoid of, oh yeah, you worked 87 hours on that for free? Well, I paid $10,000 and I ended up in the hospital with stress hives. Don't do that either, okay? There's a delicate balance of creating stuff you're passionate about, making it sustainable, and you can actually get paid for it.
Yeah.
But you have to ask for money.
It's a very tough industry, I mean, no doubt. And on top of that, if you're making films or you're making the arts in general, it's also very taxing on you emotionally and personally. So there is a point where you get stressed out and you want to lash out. And if somebody is more successful than you, you want to get jealous. I mean, it's just human nature. But the point is, learn how to take that and apply it to yourself positively. I mean, like when we made No Footing, and Carmen could speak to this as well, as soon as we finished No Footing, it actually failed everywhere we sent it. We got rejected from every film festival we sent it to. We were in distribution talks, all these things, and it just all fell apart. And then out of nowhere, it just got into one festival, then it got into another, and another, and another. And then we got these giant articles and magazines and newspapers about it, and it started really making its rounds and kind of pick up a life of its own. And by us keeping a positive attitude, people then saw that, and they wanted to work with us. And that's how we got involved with Matt and Steph. They saw what kind of people we were, what the kind of work ethic that we have. And that's one thing I try to pride myself in. I may be a very annoying person to be around when working.
I'll say it.
But nobody can tell me that I don't work hard when I'm dedicated to a project. And that's what I pride myself in. And that's how I keep doing what I do, and that's how I keep getting the kind of work that I get to do. And it's awesome. But it's very tiring, and don't expect to make a lot of money in it.
Right.
Because that also can bring you down and put you in a negative mood. You gotta love what you do. And if you want to get into the arts, you gotta love it.
Yes.
And all of us work in the arts in some way. Carmen works in radio. Lori works in theater and music. Matt, Steph, and I work in movies and TV. And Lori, I'm sure that the music and theater industry isn't that much different.
Yeah, it's really not. I don't know if this is the exact quote, but something like, for every success, there's like 10 failures behind it. It's something like that, but I feel like that's true. Like you see someone, you're like, how are they so successful? Like, but you don't see like what they did to get there. It's usually a lot of trial and error before.
And I think it's not even just trial and error and skills, because you have to. It's awful. If you can do like anything other than the arts, like do that instead. Like go make money, provide for your family. But if you can't, you have to tell that story. You have to get it out. Okay, it is one part honing in on your skills and really getting good. You have to know, because if someone sees something and it's blurry or you can't hear it, they're immediately going to tune you out no matter how great the story is. Number 2, building a team that you trust, building a good reputation. But then number 3, and this is the part that sucks, it takes some luck. And you can never control that. So you should never get angry at somebody for getting lucky. And you can never get angry that you haven't gotten lucky yourself. At the end of the day, a lot of what happens in the entertainment industry, from the independent YouTuber to the big box office people that are dumping millions of dollars into marketing, if the community doesn't share it, if the community doesn't talk about it, then it lives and dies by the grace of the community, by the grace of the people. So if you see an artist out there that's really struggling and you really like them, the thing you can do to help them the most is share their content and say, hey, have you checked this out? This is the best thing. Number 1 best thing you can do, because most indie artists don't have that kind of marketing budget. And by you saying something really nice to them, even leaving a good comment on their YouTube page, it's so valuable, because I've seen a lot of artists much more talented than me stop because some troll shut them down and said nasty things to them. For every 1,000 wonderful things someone will say to you, one troll can negate all of that for most artists. Not everyone, but artists tend to be a little bit more sensitive than other people. So it's really important that we support each other as a community. Try to, don't ever feed the trolls as an artist. Don't get into an online battle with them ever. But in general, like, I don't think a lot of people realize how much their feedback, their support, even just by sharing through social media, really helps everybody.
And on that note, I would say you also have to have a thick skin. I mean,
Yeah.
like, one of the things you really have to do is you have to sit back and you have to watch your work. Like in radio, what I do, we actually have to do air checks. You have to actually listen to yourself. You have to sit back and say to yourself, wow, that didn't sound good what I said. And same with the video and even acting. You have to watch yourself and say, wow, that really stunk. Athletes do the same thing. They'll tell you Chase Utley is one of the biggest advocates of watching video. He watches himself. You have to like really just sit back, jump out of yourself, watch your video and say, wow, that really didn't translate the way I wanted it to. What can I do differently next time? And your friends will tell you. I mean, you really got to get an honest opinion from your friends who say, you know, Carmen, that wasn't good. I didn't laugh at that. All right, well, you're right. It wasn't that funny. Okay, let's go back and figure out what we did. And it's that thick skin that you've developed along the way that makes you better. I mean, it's really a hard concept to think about. It's like sitting back and watching yourself. I can't tell you how many air checks I listened to where I listened to my whistling S's. I said yesterday, you know, instead of yesterday. You do these little things that you don't realize that you do until you watch yourself. And it's that thick skin that you develop along the way that helps you get better and helps you grow and helps you develop into the person that you will be in the videos and the stuff that you make.
And any good artist will tell you, Steven Spielberg will tell you that. He's at the top of his field, and he's somebody who always wants to try to improve his craft and try something new. And that's with, and if you're working with an artist who is, you know, our age, and they're saying like, oh, I'm the best I'm ever going to be, and I'm at my pinnacle, well, might not want to work with them because they're going to may be a little difficult, because part of art is growing, and you need to grow, or else you're just going to become a stale artist if you're not growing. At the same time, your art becomes stale.
I was going to say, there's a balance to all of this. Like, if someone's saying, yeah, I'm the best, you should totally work with me because this is the best thing you're ever going to work on, there's probably some flip side to that. But likewise, you don't want to, there's artists that we've met who are like, you're like, that thing you made was really great. And they're like, well, you know, this is wrong and this is wrong. It's really bad and stupid and I hate it. And I've moved on to better things now. And it's like, there's somewhere in the middle that's probably good.
Yes.
For this.
You can
Like
be confident in yourself
Yes.
and your work and still find flaws and still want to improve upon it the next time out. Our Living in 8 Bits has been, we had 5 seasons of it, 50 episodes. You look at episode 50, which that scene we showed you with Captain N was episode 50. You compare that to episode 1, there's stuff that we love about the original ones, but there's stuff we love about the newer ones, but we kept trying to improve it as it went. And I feel that way with anything that we've worked on. The past 4 episodes of Moot, I love, and I'm not saying not to negate the first 4 episodes of Moot, but I love how they've gotten and how they've evolved and grown. And I love it from my perspective, from the technical perspective. And I also like it that the characters got to know each other, the actors got to know each other, the chemistry improved. And that's part of art. You know,
It's practice.
Yeah.
It's practice like anything. It's like basketball. It's like anything. The more you do it, the better you get, which means you have to allow yourself to suck, which is really scary.
Yeah.
A lot of times for writers, the scariest thing is that blank page, because it's like, what if I write sucks? Yes! Yes, it will. The first draft, it will always suck. Allow yourself to suck, and then you can fix it. And then, I don't know if I know we do this a lot internally, but we have a small group of trusted friends that we share our first drafts with, be it first draft of a script, which if you are in film, try to fix it in the script, because once you actually start getting things shot or animated, it gets very expensive to cut and change things. But then we'll send it out to our small group of friends and just get feedback. And we don't make every single change. We'll just notice, okay, if 3 people said this, it probably needs to change. You don't have to take everybody's opinion all the time. You also can't get mad if people don't take your opinion and incorporate it into work. It's not about ego. It's not about keeping score like that. It improves the work so much when you do that, and you have that trusted group of friends you could be really honest and direct with, rather than responding to knee-jerk reactions from the community. I notice this a lot with YouTube channels, where they'll have new talent come onto YouTube channels, and people right away are like, "Who's this guy? I don't know this guy. Screw this guy!" Ah! And then 1 month later, they're like,
subscribed for.
unsubscribe. And then 1 month later, they're like, hey, we need like more stuff with like the guy. We love the guy.
Where'd
the guy
the guy
is cool.
go?
Where's the guy? And it's like, you shun the guy away. So in that respect, while the community can make or break you, you can't please everyone all the time. This is a famous saying said by someone, but it's so true. And you'll drive yourself nuts. So
Ironically, it's Bill Cosby who said that saying.
Oh.
no. Well, he's right,
I've
but
got some
People all the time, but you can't please all the people all the time.
I feel like he was quoting someone else too. But it was
I
like
th-
Abe Lincoln or something.
I'm calling it.
It couldn't have been Sidney Poitier. So we do have about 10 minutes left. I want to make sure that we do get to hear from you guys. Do you have questions about filmmaking? And keep in mind, we have a booth here, so if we run out of time here,
Yes, come
we
to
can
the booth
carry
and
the
hang out with us
conversation.
and
Sure.
Talk to us about stuff.
Brett.
I was just wondering what video editing software you use.
Well, we work in the Adobe Creative Suite. So I think
Premiere.
both of us, we're both
We
with
are.
Adobe
I've
Premiere.
used Sony Vegas over the years. I've used Final Cut Pro. These days, Premiere seems the
Stable.
most
Yeah.
versatile and
Yeah.
stable. It's taking every format we throw at it.
Have you ever used Nuke? I just downloaded that.
No.
I have no idea what that is.
we use After
Another one
Effects.
that's
Okay.
It's similar to After Effects.
Okay,
All
but to
right.
say, I think I've heard of Nuke that some people are using as an alternative, cheaper than After Effects. I mean, for almost all the visual effects, Chris Pateco, who's not here today, he's our effects artist. So like the gun shooting, shooty, and all that kind of stuff, explosions.
probably Mike,
Oh, was that you?
Yeah, I did
I'm
that.
sorry.
No
I'm
worries.
sorry.
But we have this awesome effect in one of our episodes where he blew up a car for
Yeah.
us, and people honestly thought that we blew up a car, which is
Love
awesome.
to.
Yeah.
We did blow up. We did practical effects in Angry Video Game Nerd the movie. We had a
That's
lot
true.
of firecrackers
But there
and
was
things
a lot
like that, but posting
After
that
Effects
too.
in that too. So.
Yeah, so After Effects is the bomb. Not as great for audio. Premiere is pretty good.
I would
Well,
say
audition.
with editing
Audition.
software, I mean, you really should stick with the main ones. Avid, Final, even though Final Cut X is terrible, it's not bad to know it. Premiere, and to a lesser extent Vegas, but if you want to get some jobs or hire, now granted it doesn't matter how the final product is, but if you're working in a collaborative environment and you're handing the project off to someone, so for instance, I do the edits for Moot, but I don't do the final sound mix, I don't do the credits or any special effects. So I hand it off to Matt, who in turn hands it off to Chris to do the final products. Because we're working in the same software, we can then bounce the project from person to person without any problems of changing formats or having to upgrade to anything.
And you don't have to send the whole, you can just send just the timeline instead of like the whole, if everybody has the same footage, you don't have to re-import everything. If you're just sending this project file, it's small. And we're all on Creative Cloud, so we're all the same version. Yeah.
And I've also had an issue, real quick, and then we'll take other questions, about I was doing a project for a client where they were doing the editing, but they needed me to shoot it. So I shot it the way we normally shoot it, with, for example, one boom mic and one lav. So you could hear, like, in whichever mic was better, if one mic peaked or something, and each one was running to a different channel, so that you have the option of a clean line of audio either way. The client got it. I didn't know they were editing an iMovie, and you can't. And you can't split up the audio. You can't change the audio once it's in there.
So it was one channel, left was boom.
Left was boom and right was lav. So like, why does this channel sound way deeper and richer than this one? Because you're supposed to blend them together.
Yeah,
but you can't do it with iMovie.
Don't deliver an iMovie.
So
Oh,
like, there
gosh.
is a reason some software costs money and some software is free.
You
So-
get what you pay for. It's the truth.
And for advanced users, I highly suggest, if you're using multiple tracks of audio, Pluralize is really good for syncing. We
Yes,
didn't know about it.
Pluralize is really cool.
It's awesome. Anyway, more questions. Yes, first, second.
Kind of sort of two questions in one. Do you guys have any planned topics for Moot in the future that you'd be willing to share with us? And do you guys take submissions for ideas?
We get the topics straight from the showrunner at PBS WHYY because it's a part of a larger show called Articulate.
But they'll have an 8-minute segment of their show about video games, are they art or not, and we're the 3-minute comedy intro to this otherwise news magazine.
To like a documentary
Yeah.
style
So
thing,
the-
like 60 minutes.
The topics mirror what they're talking about in that specific
But
episode.
they didn't want it super dry, so that's where we come in.
Yes.
Do you have any topics for the next episode or two that you're able to
They
share?
have not yet disclose actually the two that aren't live yet.
Yeah.
21st century artist.
21st
Yes.
century artist.
Basically,
so like,
artist versus artisan.
right. So like your Etsy page versus
and
what
slam-
is in a gallery.
Slam poetry.
Slam poetry hasn't gone.
Yeah, we talk about slam poetry.
Yes.
Don't you beat us to the punch with your cell phone cameras.
that's
I
right.
will cut
Quick
everyone.
episode of slam poetry. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, here. I do music videoing with my friends here, and I've been doing
Okay.
it for 3 years now.
Mhm.
I just have one question that I really need help with. I have to do a scene where it's dark at night of this death scene. Is there a camera or special effects so I can get the light perfect? Because I get pixels and channeling in my camera.
Well, I mean, you're gonna have to light it,
Yeah.
and that's essentially it. Even though it's at night, it needs bright light.
Right.
And actually, in movies, have you ever noticed when you watch a night scene of something, everything, the ground looks wet?
Yeah.
That's called a wet down. So before they start shooting at night, they actually have you'll see these trucks that say water on them. They're hosing down the set because then the light reflects off of the water on the street on the asphalt back up, and it actually brightens it. But what you need is you need more light. Also faster lenses. So if are you working with SLRs? Okay. Those are going to give you a little less
Yeah.
control. Again, it's a what you pay for kind of deal. If you're working with 35 millimeter lenses, the lower the f-stop. Like if you have like an f1.8, we call it the Nifty 50 lens. They're like $100 at Best Buy. They're a 50 millimeter f1.8, which it lets in a lot more light into the iris, which in turn causes more depth of field, which is how much of the background is blurry.
But you need an interchangeable lens camera.
Yeah,
to
so
use it
you-
in the first place.
It's like a
so.
flip you're using, or like what kind of?
Is it a camcorder or?
With me, if you want to see.
And we can talk about it at the booth too. I would say meet us at the booth
It's so
afterwards. It's a really
specific.
long conversation.
Yeah.
But we're happy to help where
But what
we
I
can.
suggest in general too, if you think you're going to get into this as a career, before you buy a bunch of cameras and things like that, there are many camera rental houses that will let you rent cameras pretty cheap, and then you can play around with them. So if you rent them for a couple days, you can shoot your music video and then not have to do that capital investment on like $6,000-7,000 for the stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
And this
you
isn't
get
just
student
like a thing-
discounts and all
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
This is a thing everyone runs into, by the way. I've been hired before to teach the union, like IATSE in Philadelphia, who are the stagehands who are paid to run the cameras and things. They're using these big boxy, like 80s video cameras half the time, and they don't understand this stuff at all. And
It
it's
moves
like-
real fast, the technology. So.
Exactly. It's tough to keep up with.
We got 3 minutes, so I think that's
Anybody
time
else?
for one more.
Or we can screen the trailer of Living in 8 Bits.
Or we can dance.
I'm not going to dance.
So,
We're pretty good dancers.
well, I mean, to wrap it up, we are. I mean, check us out. You know, we're going to be at our booth. If you like Living in 8 Bits, if you like Nerd vs. Geek, if you like any of that stuff, we have DVDs on sale now at the booth, and we're here. So feel
We're
free to talk to
approachable.
us.
Oh,
we
shameless
are-
plug. I also wrote a book about growing up as a
That's true.
misunderstood nerd girl from an old world Transylvanian family. So I think you guys will like it. It's comedy.
So we do so many different kinds of things, but we're happy. Yeah, like reach out to us on social media. Look, we're not celebrities or anything. We're just people like you guys who are doing this, and we like what we do. Like there's going to be seldom a point where we're going to say no, we won't talk to you.
You need actors.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Send
Sometimes
us your
we put-
headshot.
when we actually
I gotta send you the headshot?
We'll give you a card at the booth. Yeah.
yeah we
do
have
casting
a
calls and things
All the time.
time.
we have a full talent. I mean, we've had people who have auditioned for projects that didn't get cast, but then we're like, you know what, we like that person, or that person fits the mold of what we're trying to do in this next one. So then we cast them later in the future. We have a
Or
full
friend-
archive.
Yeah, we have basically one big email account. It's supersecretnerdyproject@gmail.com. I will write this down for you. And it's everybody's headshot, everybody's demo reel, all that kind of stuff. Because if we can't use it in-house, we have friends like, hey, do you know somebody? And we just give them the password and they look through it. So it's a permanent archive.
So
Yeah.
you keep more than just the headshot, you keep other.
Whatever you got.
Everything
Yeah.
they send us.
And we will archive it because look, like we said earlier with rejection, even if you don't get cast in a project right away or something, who knows? It may be down the road that we might need somebody like you, or that you fit the mold, or like Steph said, someone that we know might need it as well.
Yeah.
It's not just us. There are many filmmakers in the greater Philadelphia area that do this kind of stuff. So film.org, if you're looking to be an actor, is like the best resource to like find casting calls for like, most of them are like legit projects. It's not like Craigslist where it's like, hey, come to my basement and I'm gonna film your butt.
All right,
So,
just
yeah.
stand in the corner and take
Yes.
your shirt off slowly.
Yes.
So on that note, I know that we got to wrap up because whoever is next coming in, who's next?
Who's next? What's the next panel?
Nobody?
Panelist?
We can keep talking?
Monsters and anime.
Okay.
So-
Very
Well,
cool. We will get out of their way, but thank you all for being here.
Yeah, and come see us at our table.
Coming out. Thank you.
Thank you.